Hey y'all, hey. Let me get the live going on IG and then we can get started. Hey y'all, hey, it is Mogul Mindset Monday. And it was put on my heart to come on here and do a live today. So I'm not going to be before you all long. However, I do got some gems that I want to share and I want to plug you all into. Hey Katura. So y'all know what I like to say. Speak, let me know that you're here. So I can acknowledge you. Secondly, share this with somebody that you may know that may need this. Because I'm always dropping great business and life gems that you can apply as soon as you hop off of this live. So if you are here, let me know that you're here. If you could share this with somebody, go ahead and share it with somebody. Um, and we're gonna go ahead and dive in. So, what I wanted to talk about today is actually something I wanted to talk about last week, but it's fine. We'll get into it this week. But it's going back to the basics in business, and I just want to kind of talk about like my current experience about what that looks like for me. So, before I give y'all these 5 tips, lately that's what I've been doing. I've been restructuring again, always going for constant improvement, continuous improvement, if you will, and focusing on what they would call like the Kaizen method in my business, which is continuous improvement. And that's something that I feel like I've always held true. And I actually learned about the Kaizen method when I used to work in the medical device industry, because they used to do small Kaizen events all the time for different projects that we had around the facility. So I'm making sure that I'm going back to the basics in my business because what I have found is that again, now that we are coming out of COVID wave, people are starting to be hit a little bit harder about the what business realistically looks like. There was a great opportunity during COVID if you had the opportunity to take advantage of it and really like position yourself as a thought leader, really position yourself as somebody who's an expert in your space, really take advantage of all of the additional cash flow that was out there. Let's just be clear. Um, and some of us did that and some of us did not. So now that things have kind of died off, things seem like they're harder, but they're really not. They're just going back to what they were before COVID hit. So what we feel like may be happening as far as like having to put in, least amount of efforts or having to put in more effort, excuse me, versus when we did when COVID was here and when the influx of money was coming during COVID, it looks different now, right? Hey, the Seattle world. It looks different now. So people are going back to the things that they have always had to do in business before COVID hit. And so now, since we're going back to that and the hype of being a business owner, being a business coach, and all of that has died down, now people are having to go back to doing real business. There is no more room for people who are not positioning themselves as somebody who actually knows what it is that they're doing in business versus just using a image, if you will, to call yourself somebody who knows what they're doing in business. There's no more room for that anymore. And as we can see, the space is being cleared out across different social media platforms and even in real life. A lot of people are being cleared out of the space. I actually just read about a post that one of my Facebook friends posted the other day about how the coaching industry is dying. And while I partially agree, I don't think it's dying. However, I do think that there are parts of it that are being cleared out that were starting to become unethical, and it's leaving more space and more room for us who have always been true to the game and true to the process and true to the soul work of coaching. It's leaving more room for us to really step up and shine and truly be seen and be heard, because the consumers are, they're not starstruck about the things that they saw during COVID anymore. So for those of us that are true to the practice of being coaches, that are true to the practice of being great advisors, that are true to the practice of being, great consultants, it's clearing the space for everybody who wanted to look like one, who wanted to seem like one, and it's creating the space for us to be able to really be able to shine currently here where we are now. So going back to the basics in business is going to help you realize how much more of a powerful moment that you have right now during this time of now. So if you didn't take advantage to like build your audience, build your know, like, and trust factor, build your personal brand, if you will, build anything about your business that you want people to know during the time of COVID, when people had to sit still and they had to focus and they had to see things. Now is another opportunity, and probably will be your last for a little bit, for you to go ahead and step in and do what you need to do. Um, so what have I been doing? I've been going back to doing the things that I've always known were true to business before COVID hit. So I'm going back to doing a lot of my offline activities. I'm going back to, participating in vendor events. I'm going back to going to networking events in person. I'm connecting with strangers. I'm removing people off of my social media platforms that grew up with me as well too. That, hey, it's great that I know you, but you're really not um, you're really not a benefit here, if you will. So I'm cleaning up my workspaces. I'm cleaning up my audiences. I'm cleaning up my communities. I'm cleaning up my back end, if you will. If you saw me on Facebook, I tagged my homegirl Sharita, and I'm going through all of my Google workspaces to find all of the stuff that I've done over the period of 7 years. That, for one, I should have already had my first published book, hard copy book, but just the task of going back this weekend and going through a jump drive, Google Workspace, a portable hard drive, and seeing all of the work that I have done over 7 years to like create content, long form, short form, tangible, workbooks and ebooks and stuff like that I've always done that are still relevant to today. Because there's one thing about me, I love creating evergreen content. If you create evergreen content, you can always repurpose it, and you don't have to worry about the strain of always having to create so much content, if you will. But if you're not doing anything at all, you are losing a lot of opportunity for you to be who you need to be in this space. And you know, I get how your environment may not be conducive to your growth, but the only way for you to be able to work up out of your environment, and I'm speaking to myself in this regard, the only way for you to work up out of your environment is to go ahead and do what you need to do so you can take off and get what you need. Hey, Monique, and get what you need. So you need to reposition, like what it is. Why are you doing these things? Why are you in business? Why are you serving the people that you're serving? Why are you wanting to be a thought leader? Why are you wanting to be the go-to person? It's no longer just a faddish title, right? It's something that really holds substance. It's something that really holds stature, and it's no longer something that you could just throw around. So you really need to take ownership and go back and revisit the things in your business that have created great foundations for you and that have created great opportunities for you, things that have worked in the past that could still work till this day, and things that have always done well for you. That's why the power of tracking in your business is very, very important. So if you're somebody who does not track, you always wake up and you shoot from the hip, take it from me, that's not the best thing to do. Take it from me, because I've been there, I've done that, and I know I could tell the difference of when I go into my months tracking and having planned out certain things versus when I go into my months and I'm not doing any tracking and I haven't really planned out anything. I could tell the difference between the effectiveness in my approach and how I show up, and how, my confidence is displayed, how my clarity is displayed, how my mindset is functioning. I'm not working out of overwhelm or feeling overworked. Um, those types of things. So I'm just going to go over 5 tips that you need to keep in mind as you go forward to go back to the basics in your business, because that's what you should be focusing on right now. And again, if you're tuning in, let me know that you're here. Say hey so I can say hey to you. And then also share this with somebody, because everybody needs to hear this. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're first to 2, 3 years in business, or if you're 5, 6, 7, 8 years in business. Most of the people, even that have already made their millions, are finding themselves going back to the basics in their business now, because the landscape of consumer behavior has changed. So remember, For those of you that do not know my background, hey Tiffany, I talk about everything from a psychological perspective. I live this real life. Okay. Um, and I monitor, I analyze, and I pay attention, right? So I do all of that so I can come and tell you all what's going on so you can understand the different trends that are happening and the different things that are going on as your consumer behavior, shifts, because it does shift. It happens to everybody. Um, and so let's just get into these 5 tips, right? So the first tip is or let me go back to what we're talking about. So going back to the basics in business and 5 easy steps is what I'm going to get ready to give you all today. So take your notes. The replays will be up as well. But number one, elevating your mindset is non-negotiable. Is a non-negotiable. Personal development is a must, and you need to set a monthly budget. So if you call yourself being a CEO or a small business owner and you have no small business, you have no personal development budget, you are shooting yourself in the foot. I'm telling you now. You cannot learn everything that you need to learn just going to Google, going to YouTube, or just listening to that person, listening to that person, listening to this person. You need to learn how to get into a class, a program, a workshop, something that is helping you excel and propel in the industry. This is very, very important for my service-based industry people. You cannot just go to school and get your degree or get your 1 to 2 certifications and think that that's all that you need to stand out. It's not enough. You have to do continuing education. That is why they have it there for you. If you are not taking advantage of that as somebody who is a service provider, you are shooting yourself in the foot by being somebody who is going to probably end up being trampled by their competition because you are not making it an intentional work for you to go and have personal development done on a regular basis. There's no excuse. That should just be a part of your budget. I am a lifetime learner. You will always catch me in a class. You will always catch me in a workshop. You will always catch me in a course or something. I don't care what nobody has to say. I'm always going to pour knowledge into myself. I'm always going to make that investment into myself. It is not a hesitation type of thing for me because I'm always going to make sure that I get my return of investment. Why? Because knowledge is only great if you take action on it. So if you're somebody that hesitates to spend money on workshops and additional continuing education, because of that, you're just like, I don't understand where my return of investment is coming from. That is a personal problem. That is not the problem of the person that's holding the workshop or the problem of your industry. That is your own fault. So number one, like I said, elevating your mindset is non-negotiable. Personal development is a must, and you need to set your monthly budget. Also, going into reading, y'all need to read more. You all do not read enough. Y'all scroll too much on social media, and I can tell. Take some time to read some books. Read some personal development books. Read some self-help books. Read some leadership books. There are tons. If you need recommendations, slide in my DM. I will send you a list of a ton of them that you can go ahead and grab and start reading today. Most of them you can find for free on YouTube and listen to audibly if you don't want to even go purchase the hard copy. That's perfectly fine. If you don't want to have an Audible membership, you can at least listen to the audio version on YouTube if you can find it. But you need to take time and invest in yourself in reading. You need to read those types of books. um you need to read your local business journals. You need to be involved with what's going on, certain to kind of to a certain extent, on a national business level as well too. And then you need to be invested in your industry based knowledge. If you are not taking time to invest in these areas, again, you are shooting yourself in your foot, and you are doing yourself a disservice by not becoming who it is that you need to be in your industry and in your field. Hey Ashley. So that's number one. Number two, those of you that suffer from operational excellence being a hindrance in your business. So, operational excellence can no longer be a hindrance. You need to have a clear process to get people from A to B. It is no longer an excuse to say, I don't want to go out here and ask for the sale or ask people to buy from me or ask people to purchase my program or my product because I don't understand how to get people from A to B. It is not just about posting on social media. Posting on social media does not count as selling. It does not count as marketing, right? especially when you're just posting to be posting. That's why when I look on my timeline, when people are just posting to be posting, I get how this sometimes like engagement posts are relevant. I get that. I'm not knocking that. However, the majority of your content that you are posting should have some sort of intention behind it. It should have some sort of directive behind it. It should have some sort of community building asset behind it. It should have something behind it to where it's going to be able to benefit both you and the person that's consuming the information, so you all can both get a mutual benefit out of it. It shouldn't just be, all of these copy paste posts that I see, all of these, engagement posts that I see, which again, they're great, but they only take you so far, right? So you need to get more intentional about what your operational excellence looks like and the steps that you want people to take along their journey to get to know you, get to the point of nurture with you, get to the point of where they're in your pipeline and they actually become buyers and they actually stay a part of your family in your community for a while. There is no longer an excuse for you not to have operational excellence, especially as a service provider in your business, and know what you need to do. I know people get really intimidated thinking that it's a tech heavy type of lift, but it's not. And operational excellence can look like, doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have a funnel. And I think on Wednesday, I'm actually going to teach you all how to build your first funnel right here on live if I can. I'm going to see if I can do that. But it doesn't mean that you have to have technology in the form of a funnel. Operational excellence and just being able to get people in a process or a point from A to B just looks like exactly that. You literally just know the steps that you need for from inquiry, when somebody inquires with you, because some of these DM conversations and some of these, stuff I be seeing, the screenshots I be seeing on my timeline, they make me scratch my head a lot and I don't understand. But you need to understand what it looks like to take somebody from inquiry or from somebody who was engaged with you to moving them along the next step in the process, which is probably having a DM conversation or a sales call or whatever your choice may be. Is either going to be one of those two, right? If you're a service provider, even if you're a product, even if you sell products, these are still one of these two. Is getting somebody to your DM or getting somebody on a sales call, because if it's a product, they probably have questions. If it's a service, they probably have questions. But also being a service provider, you should be filtering people out because, hey Kim, I'm not here to serve everybody and I don't want to. So yes, I'm going to qualify you, and I'm also going to make sure it's going to benefit you because I'm not just here to collect your money. That's not what I want. Because whatever we enter into, should you become a client of mine, it needs to be a mutually beneficial experience. I don't need you to spend money with me just so you can claim me as your coach. I do not need that. I don't want that headache. Usually clients like that become headache clients and they don't perform well. Okay. So I need to be able to vet you and verify you, just like you need to be able to vet me and verify me. You should be asking me questions as well too. For those of you that are in your 9 to 5 space, this is the equivalent to employer-employee fit and employee-employer fit. It works both ways. It is a two-way street. Okay. So in order for you to know if somebody is a great fit for you, if they make a great potential client or a great potential customer, service providers, you should for sure be doing that. If you are somebody who sells products and somebody has a question about your product, you should be able to answer their questions via whatever channel that you have set up to answer their questions and inquiries. And you should be able to answer questions about their product based off, and also direct them to where they need to go based off the information that they have provided to you. So granted, I know that could be a 50-50 type of thing, right? Because they may only tell you so much information, and the only information that you have to go out to make a well-informed decision as a thought leader or as the person that is selling their product is what they provide to you. So you have to make the next best directive, if you will, based off of what they have provided to you. So In order for you to do that, you have to be able to have the proper channels to vet them and be able to direct them to the right product that they need. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So you have a clear process. None of that requires tech, right? You could do that right here on your social media platforms, or if you do it through your website, you have an inquiry or a chat box or whatever through your website, whatever the case may be. It doesn't require a heavy amount of tech for you to build whatever looks like for your first funnel, for you to be able to simply get people from point A to point B. And if there's other points that come after that, which more than likely it will be, um, it's not a hard process. That's all I'm trying to make clear. So for you being scared about what your operational excellence looks like and your back end looks like, y'all have to hang that up. I'm sorry, you have to let it go. Okay. Number three, your network is your net worth. Disconnect from people who can't accept a more evolved version of you and connect with those strangers that will welcome it and help it thrive. I am telling you, if you are not in the business of going to networking events and filtering, and I know for you all that are here in Memphis, I know it can get real frustrating because a lot of these networking events and stuff like that they say is networking events, they ain't really networking events. It's we gathering and we having drinks and we taking pictures. And for those, I don't go to those. That's not my preference. However, for the ones that look like they pretty high quality, they look like, they got some decent things going on. I am making myself more available to go expose myself to those spaces because your network is your net worth. And there may not be a lot of local opportunities depending on where you live at. It's up to you to research. There's plenty of platforms for you to figure that out and for you to be in the know about what's going on around locally where you are. However, if you are struggling with trying to find things that are local to you, again, I invite you to find a professional organization that is within your industry that welcomes networking and all of that. Or finding a professional organization that has some of your ideal client and becoming a member of it, and maybe even up leveling a little bit to do a presentation, speak, whatever, knowing that it has your ideal client in it. So that just gives you an opportunity to get in front of more of them, but also build your network. Because again, your network is your network. So that is pretty self-explanatory. And then also online, clean up your friends list. Leverage social media for what you need to leverage it for, but clean up your friends list. If you need to make another page and you feel like managing all of that, go ahead and make another page. Whatever you need to do to kind of shift your community and shift your visibility and shift more of the tone of what you see on your timeline, so it makes it fun, it makes it engaging, it makes it feel like it's not necessarily a job. Do whatever you need to do to start adding more strangers and removing people who are familiar with you, because those are more than likely the people that are not going to, engage with you. And honestly, it's not really even about likes and comments and engagement. It's just about showing up, to be very clear. Because I will say this, most of the people, hey, Ambis, most of the people that have purchased from me or became clients of mine were not people that actually engaged with me on my timeline. They were people that were watching me show up. They were people that were watching me, post my content. They were people that were basically studying me, as you should. You should study somebody that you have interest in to make sure that you really have interest and you really understand what it is that they do as a service provider, so you know what it is that you're buying in on, right? Most of the people that have become my clients are not people that have engaged with my content. They usually slide in my DMs and we have a conversation, or we bump into each other in person and we have a conversation. But it's not just about likes, followers, and engagement. I just want to be clear. It's about you showing up in your confidence and in your clarity as to who you need to be in as the thought leader in that space, the go-to person in that space. And it's about you displaying that. It's not about you equating engagement to the value of who you are or to the amount of money that's in your bank account, right? However, the more you show up, the more opportunity you have to have some of that pour over into your bank account, if that makes sense, right? So just make sure you understand that you're not posting for likes, you're not posting for engagements, you're not posting necessarily for shares. It's really great if people start to share your stuff, but the thing is, your only job is to show up as a thought leader. If you show up as a thought leader consistently, people are going to share your stuff. Granted, on Facebook, it don't tell you when people, like mine don't tell me when people share my stuff. It barely tell me when I have notifications of when people come in. It's gotten really, really weird now. So like if I don't go look, like I don't know. But I sometimes I scroll upon people always sharing my stuff in their stories, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know that person was watching, right? So it doesn't give you an excuse to not show up because you're not getting the engagement or getting the likes or getting the recognition or whatever that you call online. It doesn't give you an excuse not to show up. And again, as I'm preaching to you all, I'm preaching to myself as well too, because as I'm getting um reconnected, if you will, with all of these basic business practices, I'm learning all of these things over again as a different version of myself with a different mindset, right? So I remember when I first started my business, I was going live 3 times a week and I had sales calls booked all the time. And of course, they started declining because I started going live less, but I wasn't visible. So nobody knew to book a call. So you can't equate that to the fact that just because you're not getting likes and you're not getting shares or you're not getting engagement or comments or whatever, you can't equate that to nobody seeing me. Yes, they are, because like I said, almost 100% of the people that have became my clients in the past were people that did not engage with my content. They saw it, they watched it, they studied, they made sure I was who I was. They did whatever other research they needed to do, and then they slid in my DM, or either I bumped into them in person, and it just ended up being a connection from that point on, and we went through the rest of the process, right? Again, not requiring any sort of tech to be able to make that connection or that sale happen, right? So just keep that in mind. Number 4. Okay, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Couture. Number 4, revisit your mission, your mastery, and your messaging. I cannot stress this enough. Revisit your mission, your mastery, and your messaging. Okay. So a lot of us do not even have mission statements for our business. We don't. We're just like, it's in our head when people ask us, like, what made you get involved in this industry? What made you want to do this? It's something that is in our head and we just pull it out. But I invite you to get serious about what that mission looks like in your business, and like draw that connection, that personal connection between you and your business, so you can be more excited and more passionate about what it is that you're doing, right? And again, I know environments can play a role in this because I'm somebody that suffers with an environmental defect, if you will. But I'm working my way out of it, right? I'm no longer trying to use it as an excuse as to why I can't still go out here and be great, because regardless, God is still looking for me to fulfill my assignment. So that is what I'm going to do. Okay. But revisit your mission. If you don't have a mission statement for your business and you're not sure what that looks like, I invite you to get a pen and get some paper and write that mission down. Connect with that mission. See how it sits with your soul. See how it sits with your spirit, and understand whether or not that mission resonates with you. No, the second part of that, your mastery. Revisit your mastery. Again, going back to what I talked about in personal development, and business development. You should not be using the fact that you went to school and got your degree, or you got your certification way back 5, 10 years ago, as the only source of mastery that you have for your industry or as a thought leader. Continuing education should never stop. If you're somebody who's very well invested in what they do, you have no excuse not to make a budget for your personal and business development every month and meet that quota every month. You are only as great as your skill set. So if your skill set ends up being limited, it is solely your fault. I used to see an example of this on my Facebook timeline. There's a young lady that owns like a waxing lounge, but she was getting so frustrated about how business was becoming slow and people weren't coming in to get waxes, but she held a whole full cosmetology license. That just means you need to add additional services so when you have downtime, you can use and leverage other services, become a master in other spaces because you paid for a whole license. Just leverage it in a different way. You don't have to just be known for waxing if you already paid for that, right? Figure out how you can master your skill set, leveraging that license in a different way instead of just saying business is slow and coming to social media and being frustrated about it. That makes no sense. Um, and then your messaging matters. How you present yourself matters. What you say you do matters. Who you are matters. So when people ask these questions, you should be paying more attention to what is coming out of your mouth. You need to practice this on a regular basis. You are not just somebody who does what you do. You are always way more than what you do. But remember, when somebody asks you, who are you or what do you do? Whatever you present to them, that's what they got to go with. Okay. So if you are somebody, you say, I'm a travel agent, great. You look like the rest of them. Okay. Great. That sounds great. However, if somebody asks who you are and what you do, and you say, I create amazing retreat experiences for women in leadership so they can reposition themselves confidently and with clarity in their 9 to 5, that sounds amazing to me. Where can I sign up? I'm ready to swipe my card. What does this experience look like? How much does it cost? What is required? How many slots do you have? Now you're getting questions. What you say matters. How you present yourself matters. Okay? That is what people have to go off of when they speak to you. So if you're not excited about who you are and what you're doing, we aren't excited about it either, and we don't care. Let's be clear. Okay? And then when you think in terms of your content, put some emotion, like put some strategic emotion and stuff like that into your content, which this is more so a paid class. I shouldn't really be going into detail because I've talked about this several times. But how you write and present yourself, whether it's online in your content, whether you write articles through your emails, for your community, when you write blogs, whatever the case may be, how you write and how you structure and how you express and how you present and how you attract people is all through messaging, right? And how you message it depends on how people respond to it. And if you're just like, I'm just gonna slap it together and put it together, and you're not, I don't want to say perfecting, but you're not improving your writing skills, you're not improving your speaking skills, you're not improving your leadership skills, which again, I challenge you to understand more of what you do and who you are because you are way more than what you do and who you are. Granted, you are not a coach. However, I'm betting that there is some point in your life where you had to coach somebody unintentionally. Coaching is a skill set, it is not a title. Okay. It is a transferable skill set, it's not just a title. So you do need coaching skills, actually. You do need leadership skills, actually. You do need speaking skills because when somebody does ask you what you do, or when you go to the networking event and they pass the mic to you, you need to be able to know how to articulate what it is that you got going on. You do need speaking skills. You do need writing skills. For all of us that are being featured in these blogs and these articles, most of the time we have to answer those questions ourselves. You need great writing skills so you can be able to put sentences together and evoke emotion to make people want to know more about you. Period. You need all of those. Those are just the skills of a CEO. You cannot shy away from those. A CEO has to have leadership skills. He has to have writing skills. He has to have speaking skills. He or she. Um, he or she has to have coaching skills. You have to. It just comes naturally, right? You're going to be put in these positions. So you might as well build the skill sets while you have the time to do so and constantly keep improving them, because as you evolve, as your business evolves, as your business grows, it's only going to continue to grow with you. And it's also going to reflect on the type of opportunities that you get because of the improvement of those skills. Let's just be clear. Okay. And then number 5, strategically pivot if needed and make adjustable changes along the way. I cannot tell you all how much or how important pivoting is. Pivoting is very important. Where it may look like failure to a lot of people, there is no reason for you to stay stuck doing something in the way that you're doing it if you know that the way is not working. There is always more than one way to skin a cat, and you need to be open to that. You don't have to look like everybody else in your industry doing everything that you do, that you all do. You can figure out what works for you, champion that, and 10x your business just because you decided to pivot and take a different perspective about it. You don't have to look like everybody else. You only can look as great as your skill set. I can't emphasize that enough. So if you are sitting on skills that you know that you can amplify, that you know that will set you apart, that you know that will keep you from looking like everybody else in your local space or in your industry, then you're shooting yourself in the foot again, because you are limiting the amount of light that can be shined on you, because you have something that is able to distinguish you from somebody else easily. You are only as great as your skill set. Hey, Egypt. Egypt, you bomb. First of all, let's be clear, because your treats be looking amazing. Your cakes I have watched you over the year. Like, I remember. Like, you have improved so much, and your cakes look so amazing. Your treats look so amazing. And I loved your post this morning that you say treats are more than just treats. What did you say there? Something about like you have to strategically design them or whatever you said. But I loved it. Like, I love the way that you put it. They are more than just treats. Nobody wants an ugly birthday cake. Like, nobody wants to eat ugly strawberries. We want to eat, when it comes to our food, we want our food to evoke an emotion to like, oh my God, I can't wait to taste it. Like, it looks so great. We want it to be so cute that we don't want to eat it, but we glad we paid for it because it look cute. It look cute, right? So, like, these are the things that you have to understand that help set you apart from the masses and set you apart from other people in your industry. And don't be scared to be the trailblazer, especially locally in your community. Trailblaze things. Be the leader. Be the one to say, like, I haven't seen anybody doing this yet, but I would love to be able to introduce it to my audience and to my community. And go get the skill and bring it back and come dominate. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. And again, as I'm preaching to you all today, I'm preaching to myself per always, right? So if this is your time for you to make a pivot, go ahead and do the pivot so you can start making adjustable changes along the way. People think that you can't pivot because you don't know all the changes you need to make yet, and that's not necessarily true. You need to pivot and get started so then you can start learning what changes are supposed to be made along the way. It makes a difference, right? It makes a difference. You actually learn the answers as to what it is you should be doing next as you start to take action on the amount of clarity that you already have. So if you don't take action on the amount of clarity that you already have, it's hard for you to figure out what the next step is supposed to be, because you haven't even acted on the little amount of clarity that you already had revealed to you, right? The only way that you can get more clarity revealed to you is if you take action on the clarity that you already have. That's how you start learning about what's more to the blueprint. What are the additional steps within the blueprint, right? And then that's how more starts being unlocked to your consciousness as far as what you should and should not be doing, right? It makes a difference. It makes a difference. So hopefully these 5 steps have been helpful to you. Hopefully these 5 steps are something that you can take and start implementing today. Hopefully these 5 steps will help you position yourself to pivot and to start making yourself show up better as the thought leader or as the go-to person in your industry, wherever you are, however you want to be displayed. And also to let me make sure I say this. You don't have to just be where you are. You can go global, which means you can move or you can decide to stay where you are, but travel to opportunities that welcome you. You don't have to just think locally, you can think globally. And I'm welcoming more of that into my life as well too. So hopefully these 5 steps or these 5 tips have been able to help you today, and there's something that you can take from these 5 tips and go ahead and start implementing. If you are looking to have more operational structure and more operational excellence in your life and your business, you should be sliding into my DM me the word evolve. I either have workshops that are coming up that may be a great fit for you, or if you're ready to go ahead and get involved in what the coaching or consulting journey looks like with me at Cultivate, I welcome you to my DMs to start the conversation just to see if we're a great fit. I don't have to sell you anything, just to have a conversation with you. Okay. So if that's something that you're looking for because you want the rest of your 2024 to be super intentional and to be well guided, I'm here to support you in that journey, but you have to take the first step. It's solely up to you. So I will see you all probably on Wednesday as I do a live workshop session with you for free on Wednesday about how to build your first funnel and what that looks like. So hopefully you all will tune in for that. I will verify whether or not I'm actually going to do that Wednesday because I can't remember what my schedule looks like on Wednesday right now. But if you are somebody who's just like, I need to figure out what my first funnel looks like, I'm gonna show you how to put one together without any technology. Okay, using your Facebook or your Instagram page or both. Okay. So I hope you all have an amazing week. I have had a great start to my week, and I'm looking forward to everything that you are accomplishing as well as what I'm accomplishing this week. And yeah, tap in and let me know what you learned from today's live, and I will see you all next time.